Hello guys, welcome back to the Mental Game podcast. I'm your host Nico Mothra, and I hope everyone's having a good day and week. I believe this is episode 12. Let me just check here. Yep, it's episode 12, and I actually uploaded episode 11 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to explain why I was inconsistent. There's no excuses, but I'll tell you guys what I've been up to. So, Firstly, I've been uploading different kinds of videos on my YouTube channel. One being computer science x self-development, where I use computer science concepts to further elaborate on self-development concepts. Secondly, last week I went to Manchester. My second time going to Manchester, and it was an absolutely brilliant weekend, let me tell you. First off, it was a brilliant break. It was just a break from work, a break from, in a way, reality, because I felt like I haven't taken a break in a while, and I just needed to have a breather, step out, experience something new. So I went to Manchester to watch a boxing fight, and also meet up with a friend. The boxing fight was an absolutely amazing experience. My God, the music was just unreal. The atmosphere was unreal. It was proper British boxing. And yeah, it was just a really good experience, to be honest. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Met up with a friend, and that was one of the best parts of my weekend, to be honest. Meeting up with a friend, I feel like sometimes social prescription is so essential, just connecting with somebody and, talking on a deeper level, understanding each other and the future and, and so on. And yeah, that was my weekend, and also went shopping, got a few t-shirts. Some of them are too small for me. I wasted some money because I realized some of these t-shirts are too small for me now. I don't know why I got them, but yeah, we have to move in that way. So yeah, that was my weekend. And when I was sort of watching, I'm going to connect this podcast topic to the boxing event I watched in Manchester. And one of the fights included a MMA fighter who's considered a legend. And this legend has lost 8 fights in a row. And if you guys don't know what MMA is, it's a different sport than boxing. It involves wrestling, it involves kicking, it involves elbowing and knees. It's basically more dangerous, let me say. And he lost 8 fights in a row in a specific MMA organization, hence was sort of kicked out of the organization or released because he wasn't doing too well. And as of recently, he stepped into the boxing ring, which is a different sport and involves only your hands. And many of the fighting fans globally, online, in person, media, were all saying that he was going to get beaten. He was going to lose. He was going to have his 9th loss in a row. His debut in boxing will be a loss because, obviously, of his historical performance and how he lost to 8 in a row. People will obviously doubt him and put or stack odds against him. He was against a young buck. He was against a 30-year-old who actually knocked out many of his opponents. He's an influencer. I'm not sure if you know Salt Papi. Quite an odd name, but he was against this guy called Salt Papi, and he's a machine in boxing. He's very, very well skilled. He has power. He has all the traits a boxer would need. So the whole MMA world, the whole boxing world, the whole fighting fan world thought Tony Ferguson had absolutely no chance of winning this fight. He's going to have his 9th loss in a row, and it's basically is no point of sort of him stepping in the ring. He's anyways going to lose. Now, long story short, this guy who lost 8 fights in a row against a guy who was an absolute machine in boxing, knocking out his opponents, performing well. The guy who lost 8 times in a row, Tony Ferguson, won. He won the fight. Despite the odds, despite the doubts from MMA fans, fighting fans, everyone, despite the doubt, he still won. Now, what does that tell you? And I think I made a podcast episode about this, about, let me just check here, about the noise and how it's so essential that we block out the noise. That we sort of listen to our hearts. Now, I'm sure everyone will know this. I'm sure the whole world knows this. I'm sure everybody listening to this podcast will know this. People doubt you. Whether that's your friends, whether that's your family, whether that's the people sitting next to you, you don't even know them, but they're still doubting you. Everyone will doubt you. Additionally, people will try to pull you down. People will pull you down. People will say, no, you can't do that. You're not smart enough. Oh, you're not strong enough. You can't do that. Oh, you're not smart enough. Did I say that? Maybe I said that. You're not hardworking enough. You're not da-da-da. You're not. The key word is you're not. They're going to constantly say that, trying to pull you down. Now, as I referred to, I'm just checking the episode numbers here. In episode 8, the noise. It's so essential, just block out the noise. To realize this is all sort of gibberish. These comments people are making, whether they're mean, not motivational, and not encouraging growth, they are so irrelevant. They're so irrelevant. Someone like Tony Ferguson, who lost 8 fights in a row, could have easily listened to the media, could have easily listened to the fight fans around the world, all of them saying, you're going to lose, Tony. All of them saying, you're going to get knocked out. You're going to have your 9th loss in a row. He could have easily listened to that. Let it get to his head, seep into his brain and thoughts, demotivate him, create self-doubt. He could have easily let that happen. But this is the power of a champion's mindset. The power of a champion's mindset is able to create a shield, in a way. I like to think about it as a shield, where there's so many attack vectors. There are people online, there are people in person, there's people coming up to you, there's people right next to you, da-da-da-da-da. And this shield essentially protects you from all these attack vectors. Now, this shield has to be developed. It cannot be equipped. You can't buy it from a store. You can't buy it from a local KFC store or any other stores nearby. I don't know why I said KFC, but you cannot buy this shield. You have to develop this shield. Now, how you probably think, how do you develop it? How, that's a great question. How do you actually develop a shield which can protect you from this external noise? And not protect you, give you the capability of cancelling out the noise. Give you the capability of saying, in a way, F the doubts. I don't care about what other people say. I'm still going to do this and that. So, how do we actually develop a shield to do this? So first off, it's very, very important. And I'm as I step into this realm of self-development, I realize everything starts from one foundation. Everything starts from one foundation. And this foundation is called awareness. Yeah? What is awareness? Awareness is the ability to identify, the ability to realize when something's happening, right? So you need to have, essentially the first step of building the shield is that you need to be aware. Aware of what, Nico? Well, you need to be aware of when you're letting these self-doubts create fear. You're letting these self-doubts pull you down. You're letting these self-doubts control your life. And you also need to be aware of when you're surrounded by the wrong people. The people who just want to see you fail in life. The people who are trying to pull you down and try to do better than you and all that. You need to be aware of that. And the power is that when you're aware, half the shield is already created. And the other half is just action. And I've said this in a past video. I don't even remember. And it's such a simple step. I think it's episode 3 I mentioned it. It's just half the shield is awareness. The second half is action. When you're aware, you choose what to do with that flowing energy. Do you want to mitigate it? Do you want to realize that it's not useful? As a matter of fact, it's just creating fear in my life or negativity in my life. That's your second half of the shield, is when you take action. Either that's by surrounding yourself around the right people, listening to podcasts, motivating yourself, and so on. So, just to reiterate, the 2-step process is awareness and then action. Let's try to unleash our inner Tony Ferguson. And let me tell you how Tony Ferguson may have approached this chaos, the digital chaos, man. The digital chaos of people telling him he can't do it. Let me tell you how he probably approached it. And it's probably in the way I just elaborated on. The first step is Tony is a superstar in the MMA region who has lost 8 fights. What Tony probably have done is that he realized that half the world, most probably the whole world maybe, is doubting him. Now the power of a champion's mindset is to sit with that and be aware that the people around you may doubt you, pull you down, and so on. And then there's action. You could either use that the doubt that other people are giving you as demotivating, or you could use it as motivation to prove people wrong, or most importantly, prove to yourself that you are able to do that. Prove to yourself that you can improve from yesterday's version. So Tony probably had a change in perspective. Tony was aware of the doubt, the chaos around the world telling him he can't do it, and he utilized it, he used it, and this is the action part, where he used that doubt as motivation, and that motivation was to improve his yesterday self, prove to himself that he can overcome challenges and extend his boundaries, and also prove to the fans that he is still considered one of the best and can win a fight. So that's the power of that 2-step process, awareness and action. So I'm going to tell you guys I'm going to give you guys some homework. And let's take this homework. The sad reality is that many people are doubting you. I experience it, sometimes, and I'm starting to be a bit more aware of it. The world is like that sometimes, where you tell somebody something and then they try to pull you down, say it's not possible, and so on. And it's so essential that you be aware that you are the master of your life. You're the master of what you do, how you do it, and so on. Keep that in your brain. No one else has control of your life, only you. So whenever someone tells you can't do it, just realize that they have no power over you. They can't do it. They can't do anything about you doing something, and so on. So you take action whenever somebody tells you you can't do it by either ignoring them and carrying on with what you're doing and just trying your best at what you want to do and not listening to that noise and media and chaos. And this podcast is going to be titled Beating the Odds. There's so many odds stacked against us every single day from doubts and from people doubting you and so on. From yourself, most importantly, you doubt yourself. And that's a whole different topic, but today's just about the external noise because it's so prominent in social media, it's so prominent on TV, prominent via texting, comments, and it's so essential to build that shield, to develop that shield. And sometimes that shield will break, it's completely normal. Just rebuild it, maintain it, awareness and action. Alright, lads, that's the end of this podcast episode, and yeah, I'm going to try to stay a bit more consistent with this, to be honest, and I'm very happy you guys listened today. Yeah, thank you guys, and see you next week. Bye bye.